Hi, I'm Patty McGarrihan from The Mind's Eye, and I'm here today with Chris Chiaro. He's kind of an adopted son. He works on this TV show, and he also helps me and does some fairs, psychic fairs. He does readings at my psychic dinners, and he helps out whenever he can. Chris, thank you for being here today.
Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
The last time we let him be on the screen for a minute was just before he was being deployed.
Yep.
So now we're going to let him on here for an interview, not just sorry you're leaving for 13 months thing.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Usually I'm in the booth or holding up my signs behind a camera.
Yep.
Yeah.
And today you get to be in the chair.
I know. I made it.
You made it.
I've arrived.
You arrived. So tell me a little bit what started you into the holistic world.
I think it was around 2016. My brother was doing table tipping with a friend, and it was over I think it was like some Revolutionary War stuff. And then I went for one. I was like, that's cool. And it's kind of snowballed into like, small things like meditation nights, and kind of bounced around shop to shop. And then I was referred to you by a friend. So I did a mediumship 1 class with you, and then I don't know, it just started building, like, everything, it's like the lights started turning on, the switches going on, and oh, okay, like, and then I got into readings, and then people were like, well, with healing, a lot of like past life healing, stuff like that, people were like, oh, you should try Reiki. So then I got a couple of Reiki sessions in, and then the Reiki 1 class came in, and then before you know it, became a Reiki master, Karuna Reiki master, and then mediumship, the advanced mediumship classes with you, and then tarot. I did really good tarot class with Brett and stuff like that. So, so it's been years of training, and so now you're starting to open my wings.
Open your wings.
I don't have any clients though. Not yet.
Yeah, not yet, but you are very popular at the psychic dinners. He does his little pendulum around his desk, and the women go, tables of 8 and 10 say, we want him.
Yeah,
and I have to explain I could only do 6 readings a night.
I had 2 tables asking for me one time.
One time. And it was so great. I was so glad that happened to you, because the time before you had a lady cry, and you weren't sure if you should do this anymore because the lady cried, but she would have cried no matter who read her.
I have a few criers.
Yeah.
I need to bring like a box of tissues, because they just like start weeping. I'm like, oh, okay,
Don't know what to do. So, and when I have a psychic, the psychic fair at the shop, usually once in the summer, you always do really well with that too. So in here, one of the things that I do want to talk about is when you were in Kuwait, you used to help some of your people that were deployed in Kuwait. Because Kuwait, he was deployed during COVID. And so instead of movement, they were stuck and bound in one spot. And you had a lot of people going through depression and everything, and used readings and some of your healing abilities to help others. Yeah,
me and a friend, army friend, she's into it too. So we did a lot of like tarot, like I had my tarot cards and everything. So we would, do readings and stuff like that, a little mediumship. I had a small group of friends that I trusted to do that stuff with, and so we would do it a lot of times at the smoke pit. So, like, it was kind of like the main hangout area, but like we'd have the MPs would come around, they'd be like, 6 feet apart, and then they would just drive around like this, like the living area, which is kind of weird. Make sure we're all like 6 feet apart, and like we had couches and chairs, and they took the couches, and then they took the chairs, and we started bringing our own chairs out. And then they took the tables, and then we actually bought our own tables and brought them out. So, and we would do, my friend we'd do readings with people and stuff like that, and then she had a medical injury and she left, and
that ended that, But during that, between Kuwait, I saw you have a big growth as far as your readings went. And then after, it was so strange, because after the person cried that it upset you, it was like the next group you ended up like, all of a sudden you had your fan club that was out there, which was really good. And the last psychic fair, I had 3 or 4 people, really applaud you. So it'll come. You just got to stay in the the one place for a minute and a half. That being deployed every 2 years makes it hard for you to get a following, you know?
Yeah, it's been the last 4 years have been wild. The last 5 years have gone by really fast. So it's, I think that once life slows down and the military, I can finally put a kibosh in the military stuff and
start doing some of the stuff you want to do.
Yeah. I think that's when it's going to open up. But it's been a good time to get the training in, you know, and also it's like, you know, like the Mind's Eye provides that space to train people. I mean, like I've met a lot of people like, you know, like especially Reiki, like Caitlin Mowry's, you know, who's an outstanding Reiki practitioner and a teacher.
She's teaching karmic Reiki now.
Yeah, and I miss that because we're gonna reschedule anyway. But
she's got a class going, I know, May 25th.
Yeah.
But I don't know. She might do you sooner. I don't know. But there's going to be a class.
She's trying to fit me in sooner so I can do the May one.
The May one is one too.
Is
one
it
as well. Yeah.
Oh.
So the one is another one. So it might end up being both, and then do the two shortly thereafter.
Okay.
So the other group has to get their Reiki master first before they can do the two master for the karmic Reiki. Yeah. Karmic Reiki has new symbols that are just very, very powerful, and they go right to the healing. Everything, Karuna Reiki, you're a Karuna Reiki master as well, and the Karuna master has all these symbols that metaphysically just can hit that healing faster. You can do everything with your regular Reiki, but sometimes you just need that extra slam it on in type of thing.
Like the Karuna is nice because it like, and I'll use the power symbol, but then if it's a specific thing with like past trauma or healing and stuff like that, you take that one symbol. So I'll do the power symbol and then that symbol from Karuna, and I'll combine them.
Yep.
And usually that helps a lot.
It helps a lot. It really does. And now this karmic Reiki, I felt the difference when we were working with that. So that's really cool too. So you don't realize it makes everything move faster and the healing move faster and stronger. But it's a very cool thing.
But the healing's important too, because like, you know, working with like different like people like Caitlin, Dawn, Brandy, so many other people throughout the years, like we've developed together. I found that people who take the Reiki classes to go through those healing and getting those the symbols attuned to them, everything else kind of multiplies and it builds upon it.
And we laugh because my development circle I've always kept so cheap.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I have is I feel that I grow during that too, because whenever you bring like-minded people together, whether it be for Reiki, mediumship, whatever, when you bring people together, it raises everybody's level up. Yeah. You don't realize it, but you're helping the person next to you, which is a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, and you develop good connections with people too, and it becomes that little circle, you know, becomes very powerful. Like, I mean, like even like you and Dawn, like, you know, like the three of us have become so close in these past couple of years, and so like those are like, and then even people within the development circles, you know, like seeing people like, you know, like I met Brandy and then like seeing like Addie grow and stuff like that and some others.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
And you know, like those are people that, you know, it's good to have people in that small circle.
Absolutely.
You know.
And even you and I, the whole crowd got impressed with my granddaughter. I've got a granddaughter that doesn't do any of the other stuff, but she does the trans mediumship.
She did really well.
Incredible. We're doing one in April, so because
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, because she wants to.
Yeah, with the red light and everything.
It's Thursday night because Daisy is going to be away.
Yeah.
And so Thursday night, because that's with her college and her work. Yeah. That was the only night that she could do it. So I made it on a Thursday night because she gets so excited about that class.
And it was, the messages were really powerful.
Powerful messages.
It was a good night, and it was excited to see her granddaughter. I was like, you know, she's so moss about it because, you know, she's young and she's at the age where she's unsure about everything. But I'm like, you know, you got some gifts there. You got some abilities.
Well, and it's so funny how she did the trance class the first time was we were going on a trip the next day, and I had trance class that night because everybody plans a trance class the night before when you're leaving at 6 o'clock in the morning on a vacation. But anyway, so she was sleeping over my house, so I brought her up there, and when I brought her up there, we happened to have trance, so I let her watch it. And at the end, she said, Grammy, can I try it? And she was like only 13 the first time. And then, of course, with COVID, none of that went on for a while. And so when I did it, when she was 16, 17, I think she was, everybody was like, ooh and an ah. And then when I just did that last one,
yeah, it was good.
She was like, yeah. I think she's better than I am at it, actually, you know, so, which is very cool. I love that.
But that's like the beauty of holistics, though, because it's not just healing, you know, you have Reiki, you have mediumship, tarot reading, then, you know, like you have divination tools, you know, you got the dowsing rods, you got the pendulum. I'm really good with the pendulum. I've used the dowsing rods a little bit, but I'm really, really good with the pendulum. I enjoy using it. I enjoyed it so much it actually flew out of my hand and broke my TV one time. Yeah,
I love it.
Flew across the room, it shattered my TV.
Shattered your TV, huh?
So I lost.
It got a little energy of its own.
Yeah, it just flew. I was like just spinning, and then I was like, oh wow, and just broke my TV, broke the pendulum. I was like, cool. So
time for a new one.
Yeah, but like it's good for whether you want to use it for mediumship purposes or just clearing, you know, like
clearing.
I'll tell the pendulum, we're just doing clearing, and it'll do just that.
And then I walk by and I tease him and I say he thinks he's clearing the energy from one client to the next, but sometimes he's clearing his own stuff.
I'm just clearing the space. That's it.
I tease you.
Oh yeah, like to tease you have the people that sit there and they're like, and you're like trying to get something out of them, and they just look at you like. Oh.
Yeah, but you usually win them over.
Yeah, I do, you know, and then they cry at the end.
And then you make them cry, yeah. So no, it was that lady, she was crying even before a reading, but you didn't realize it, and it just bothered you.
Well, there was one of the best readings, you know, and like with tarot, you know, it lays out the story, what's going on. And I think some of the best readings I've done is at the present. Like 6 months to a year, that's a long time. That's, you know, so much can change. And
the power of choice.
Yeah, free will.
People do not realize that we have the power of choice in there. Yeah. So they'll sit there and say, is my husband going to choose to do this in 6 months?
Yeah.
It's the power of choice.
Yeah.
You know, right now it looks like no.
Yeah.
But he could change his mind between here and there, you know.
And it's hard because people like, and I've done it too, I'm like, when am I going to get married? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, the more I grow into this stuff, it's like, it honestly doesn't matter. It's, the present is more important than what comes in 6 months. 3 months, to have a good idea what's coming in 3 months helps. But 6 months to a year, it's like, that's hard because then you start laying out things.
And sometimes all the person needs is the light at the end of the tunnel. So in other words, if they're going through a ton of stuff and you show them a little sprig of light, it makes it easier for them to get through what they need to get through.
Yeah.
And so it's very, very helpful.
Yeah, oh, of course. And you know, it's, I think that it's, another thing is some people come back from multiple readings because, like, they get uncomfortable with something, or they're like, I need that affirmation, and then they need the affirmation.
Right. I had a woman this week that I said to her, you realize you had a reading so close, and I don't want to take the money. Yeah. That's just not my cup of tea, you know? And her husband yelled out, there's a lot of stuff going on. She needs another reading. So I said, okay. As long as they were both in agreement, you know what I mean?
I mean, it depends on the situation, because if you're, and I've noticed this, like, I'll put the intention out there for the reading, like, for this specific situation, you know, to get clarity on that. If it's a general reading, you're going to get the same stuff.
Well, that's what I tell them. If I've got somebody going to do readings, and you've done it, you know, you've done it too, where, especially when you're deployed and you're bored, you know, and I'll sit there and say no, because it's going to be the exact same reading at this point, unless you've had change in your life.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to be different, you know, so.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get people to understand that, but then a lot of times people, after they get, at first they're kind of mad with me when I say you should wait another 2 months or 3 months for a reading.
Yeah.
But then I found that after them, some of them have thanked me, because I'm not just trying to, I don't have one of those little huts with all the electronic stuff saying, yo, come on in and I'll charge you little, and then I'll get $350 out of you for, you know, energy work. I don't believe in doing that stuff.
And
so.
that's, And that's important about the mind's eye.
But it's one of those things where I'm very blessed and I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah.
And I think authenticity is the most important part of this work. You have to stay authentic.
Yeah.
Like I did a teen Reiki.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I did the teen Reiki is I think the young people should do it. And between Christmas and New Year's, as I said, I got thrown off by COVID.
Yeah.
But between Christmas and New Year's, I would do a free tween and teen Reiki and class. And then the next year, when they were a year older, I do Reiki 2. Do you know what I mean? I made them wait to 18 to do Reiki Master, but I did to Reiki 3. So half of my tween crew have got their masters and half are waiting to turn 18.
Yeah.
But I do that for free because I think the more people that have it, the more important it is, because there's just so many things to use that energy with.
Yeah.
You know, and I was talking before, I've done it, I've saved one of my dogs.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So the Reiki is for animals, and one of my first Reiki masters was actually, she works with dogs, and that's all she does. She only does Reiki on dogs and herself, not people.
And that's, I mean, I've taken classes with people doing Reiki too, just for that.
Just for their animals and stuff.
And that's okay. I mean, they're, you know.
It's a beautiful thing, yeah.
I mean, my family's dogs, they run into the living room or room and they'll sit down and just look at me. And I'm like, okay. And I'll give them Reiki.
They're ready for a treatment.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, they feel it. They feel the energy, without a doubt.
But I've given some people don't I'll tell people, yeah, I'm a Reiki master. Like, what is that? I'm like, just, the metaphysical healing, and and they're like, oh, okay. And then I'll sit them down in a chair and I'll give them like a free little bit of Reiki. They're like, and then I'll do push the chakra clearing down, and then I'll kind of pull out the negative stuff, clear the energy out, and they're like, wow, that was amazing. I'm like, yeah, that's Reiki.
Well, do you know at the time I was taking Reiki and I realized it did other things for me, but didn't necessarily realize how powerful it was. And I was in England and I was taking mediumship classes in England with Tony Stockwell. And when I was taking those, when I was doing that, it was absolutely amazing. There was a couple that the husband had fallen on a tour that they did the day before. Yeah. He was so afraid that he would ruin the tour or slow everybody down. He acted like nothing hurt. But when he came back on the bus, you could tell he was in pain. Yeah. And at one point, he put his leg out when he got on the bus and sat down and put his leg in the aisle. And so I started beaming Reiki at him. And all of a sudden he went, and he moved the leg back. Yeah. And I loved it because a lady behind me said, "You're a Reiki? You do Reiki?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "That was so great that you did that for him," so she recognized it. Yeah. And it was, but it was great because I think it was also part of Spirit's way to let me know it really worked. Yeah.
And I've done long distance. I have a buddy in Florida. He's like, "Can you give me some Reiki? You do long distance Reiki?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I can do it right now." And he goes, "I feel better." I was like, "Oh, cool." It's
amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
So, but I think it's, it helps with that if you really want to pursue holistics, and I think it's something important that you should do.
Well, and we have that fabulous Reiki circle. Yep. And my Reiki master is still involved in it. And I don't know, she's getting older now, so I don't know how much she's doing with it. But her Reiki circle goes around to Singapore. Yeah. And she was teaching Reiki masters for over 40 years. Yeah. I have quite a few. And so what happens is if you have someone that isn't feeling well, you put them on the Reiki list. I sent an email to the master and I send it to all my people that are on the list. And all you should do is you just think and you beam out energy. Yep. And Reiki energy.
Yeah, I get the emails and I'll do it.
Yeah. I'll open up. You just send out the Reiki, the intention, and the intention is fabulous. Yeah. And I put a girlfriend's grandson was having brain surgery, and they told him the best scenario was one side of his face was going to sag. Yeah. And that was the best. The worst was possibly not making it. Yeah. And I put him on the Reiki circle, and it was amazing. not even did the face sag. He was perfect after it was over.
That's awesome.
So it's like a Reiki circle. Put him on a church list. It's everybody sending that positive energy is very healing.
Yeah, we need more love and light.
You got it. You got it, honey.
Yeah.
You got it. So what are your goals for some of your holistic type of stuff for the future? If you're really good, I'll let you use my shop.
Ooh.
But you got to be good.
I have to behave.
You got to behave, yes.
I don't do well behaving. I'm kidding. I've been looking at maybe doing a tarot class. I know it's kind of redundant and there's 1,000 people who do tarot classes. But maybe putting one together. Reiki, that's more Caitlin's area, so we'll let her.
You'd be good at it, though.
Yeah, I could teach it. Yeah, but up here in this area, it's like, it's kind of Caitlin's, so we'll let her.
Yeah.
Do that.
Caitlin is a girl that he took Reiki with.
Yeah.
But I've had 2 students in my life, and I think my grandson, but that could have been my daughter became a Reiki master while pregnant with him, so I'm not sure whether he had it. But you can just tell sometimes people had it in a past life, like past lives used it. And Caitlin is one that I just feel like it was already there. We just ignited it, And she's got such a passion for it.
She does.
She does have such a passion.
And I've also thought about maybe throwing a mediumship class together, especially as I develop and get better with it. So it's just stuff I'm thinking about. So
Right.
It takes time. You can't. A lot of people will learn something
But you know what?
Jump into
you know what could be fun would be like at tarot, having every once in a while having like a group, like a Reiki share, but having it like a tarot share where everybody does like little mini readings on each other and stuff like that, and start out with that and then eventually make it into a class.
Oh yeah.
That might be a really cool thing. I used to have an open house on the 1st and 3rd Tuesdays of every month. First it was every Tuesday, then the 1st and 3rd Tuesday of the month. But as I said, when COVID squished it, I keep talking about COVID, but it did make a change. You had to flip your services and everything with it. And so I haven't had it since. So it's something that we could reignite it, and it wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think people.
And if you ran it, I'd be happy with that. Because I did it, and Amanda was helping. She was running one, and I was running the other. So I would love it if you wanted to do that. We could set something up.
Let's do
it. It would be really cool.
Something we could talk about. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so in the meantime, what else are your goals? My
goals? Well, I finished up the military stuff. My own career, I don't know. I'm still working through that. I'm kind of in the weird place right now. Long-term goals.
Yeah. But in here, do you use some of the holistic stuff on yourself?
Yeah,
to help heal yourself.
Yeah,
that's what's the hard thing. Sometimes we don't remember to do that.
I'm Pisces, so I kind of get stuck in my own head sometimes. And I'm very emotional.
I've never seen that happen.
I'm very emotional.
Yes, I've never seen that happen.
So it's like I'll use the and I can't read myself. I cannot. I've tried, and
You're too emotional.
No.
I'm a cold-hearted, you know what?
Yeah.
So I can read myself.
But I've done better, and that's the thing, too. The more I've worked in this stuff, the more I realize the need for boundaries. Like, you can be a good person and have some really, really good boundaries set in place for yourself. But I know a lot of nice people, the nice people get run over because they have no boundaries. They have no way to protect themselves.
You know what I had is, I was a tough corporate person.
Yeah.
But in the healing thing, I've had to learn how to put some boundaries, and I still don't have my boundaries set. But I have had to learn how to put some boundaries up, and it's very hard for me in the healing industry because you feel like you should be helping people, but some people need more than what you're qualified to do, And they need medical, because I'm a firm believer that the holistic and the medical need to combine.
Yeah.
So, you get all at one. We had holistic. We got blessed with medical.
Yeah.
So we threw out holistic.
Yeah.
Holistic is coming back and trying to throw out medical.
Yeah.
It's like combine, And so what's happening is it's that combination is going to make strength for sure.
Oh yeah.
But in here sometimes I have to let go of and just put boundaries on people.
Yeah.
And it is a really hard thing to do when you're in this field, because you want to help.
Yeah.
You want them to be in a good place. I find the holistic work, I think, has really made my life, which was, I haven't had an easy, as I said, I didn't get dealt an easy deck of cards, you know what I mean? Yeah. And nor have you. Yeah. But the holistic stuff has really helped me. And it keeps me in a good spot.
Yeah.
So.
And you get to help people, and you get to, have
and the crowd loves having a male in the class.
Yeah, sure, maybe, sure.
Yeah. But it puts balance, the energy balance. Yeah. It does make a difference. Yeah. You don't realize it, but sometimes you strengthen the class because we do have some male energy in there.
Yeah, you have the masculine with the feminine.
Mm-hmm. Which that needs to be combined too.
It does.
Females run the world. It was a disaster. Males run the world. Oh, why don't we try both? Yeah. And people don't realize that. So, so they definitely like the energy when it's when you get the male one, and you don't mind the attention. You don't mind the attention at all.
I mean, the attention's it's nice, but it's.
Yeah, I got them all.
Everyone's married, so it's like,
Well, we're not looking for a dating scene. We're just looking for energy. Yeah. So, but anyway, I thank you so much for coming today. And you're on Facebook.
I am.
So Chris Chiaro is a way. CHIARO is a way to get a hold of him, or you can go through me. And I can usually catch up to him no matter what.
Yeah. Call me middle of the day, late at night. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So. Mama keeps track of them. So again, I thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, and by the way, just to let you know, Chris works on the show, has volunteered his time on the show since the beginning. The only time he's had to take off is when he gets deployed. Then he has to leave me for a little while, but then he comes back and plays again.
That's it. No more deployments.
No more deployments. So we're all set. All set. Thank you so much.